In this lesson, we're going to look at importing data from Access, and there's many ways that you can import data into Power Pivot, but we're going to look at Access in this particular session. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to Excel, and I want you to open up a blank Excel workbook, just a normal blank Excel workbook. Then when you have the Excel workbook open, what I want you to do is I want you to select the Power Pivot ribbon, and in here then I want you to select Manage, and what this will do is open up your Power Pivot screen, and you have a home ribbon and a design ribbon here, and it's in the home ribbon that you're going to import data, and in this case we're going to select from database and from Access. And what you want to do now is in the table import wizard is browse for where you saved the file, the zip file that you downloaded, and locate your sample data, and what you're going to select is Conto Sales and select Open. So this has now brought in the database name, and we can select Next, and it will look for the database, and we've got a choice then of how we're going to import the data. We can select from the list of tables, or we can write a query. We're going to select from the list and select OK. So this then brings in a list of all the tables that are available, and we can go down through these source tables and select them one at a time. So what we're going to do is we're going to select dim channel, we're going to select dim date, we're going to skip dim entry, we're going to select dim product, product sum category, and fact sales. So this has then given each of these a friendly name, and you can change this friendly name if you want. If we select dim product and press preview and filter, and what this will do is it'll allow us filter the data set before we actually bring it into Power Pivot. And as you can see here, it brings in all of the columns of data, and they all have these little ticks. And if we untick some of these, and there is a list available of the ones that you need to untick. So if we untick all of these, what we're actually doing is we're actually filtering the data before we bring it into Power Pivot. So these unticked columns will not come into Power Pivot, and we're going to untick about 12 or 13 of these columns. So when we have all of the columns unticked that we don't want to bring in, we can select OK, and what that'll do is then filter the data and only bring in the columns that have remained ticked. Now that's one way of filtering the data, by removing full filters, and when you do it, if you select applied filters, you can see all of the filters applied. So let's select the next one, dim product subcategory, and again let's filter this. We'll preview and filter, and we don't want to bring in, what we're going to do is we're going to remove product subcategory description, because it's actually this name the same as the product subcategory name. We're also going to filter this column. So you don't have to take in the whole lot of the column, you can take in part of it. So we're going to exclude product subcategory 7 and 8. Then we're going to select finish. And what this is going to do is work away through importing all the data. And this may take a couple of minutes depending on how large the files are. And when it's successful, you can then press details, and these details will show you all of the relationships that exist between the tables that you have imported, and we'll discuss relationships at a later stage. When we press close, what we'll see is we now have a new worksheet there for each table of data that we imported, and these tables of data only bring in what we have filtered. We can also refresh the data, so if the Access tables have updated, if we press refresh, it'll automatically refresh the tables for us. And don't forget, Power Pivot can handle millions of rows of data, so pulling in data from Access isn't a problem, and you can always filter it down.